Well, if that's love. Hello. So I'm back. Oh my gosh, I forgot to change the title. My mom thought she saw gray hair in my beard earlier, and I was excited, but when I went to the mirror to look, it wasn't gray. So I'm already disappointed once today. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So today I woke up. I went to bed a little later. I was watching this show. I had these dreams last night. One of them was frustrating and annoying, and I don't really understand it. The other one was interesting. Um, but anyway, I digress. I woke up a little later today to a text from my mom that was like, "Hey, like, where are you? Like, what's up? I'm gonna be going out to Walmart to pick up an order." Sent 20 minutes before I woke up, so I like texted her back, and then I called her. I was like, "Did y'all leave yet? Because I want Starbucks." Um, this is the drink less full or less empty than the one that was in the trash can in the cemetery. A Trenta matcha lemonade with light ice. Anyway, so as I woke up, she informed me that I had a package. Another package. So to Dr. Matthew, who's trying to help me energetically reach the place of sunshine and rainbows. Um, he sent this with a note that said, because, what did it say? Because we found out that flowers are terrifying. It's the Demogorgon from Stranger Things, also from Dungeons and Dragons, but Stranger Things. I feel like I gotta say it's also from Dungeons and Dragons, or else my work buddy would be mad at me. He's like, it was in Dungeons and Dragons first. I was like, okay. Because flowers are terrifying. I was like, okay, that was funny. That was funny. Um, oh girl. Well, because flowers are terrifying, let's try the other direction, I guess. Hey Holly, how you doing? We got the occult tarot. He also gifted me the occult tarot. And I'm like, oof. I'm not oof. I mean, I could use it with because I already have the Damon tarot, but I every time I use it, I don't get any of the bad ones. More often than not, it's like ones that are associated with relationships or stuff like that. And it's like they can go sour, but there was one of them. It was like helps to bridge connections where there's like nothing in common, basically. Um, so we're gonna flip through this. I obviously had to pair it with my Angel Tarot because I was like Travis McHenry. Like I feel like I've seen that name recently. I'm assuming it'll be the same size as the Angel Tarot. And so this kind of makes me think of the Threads of Fate Oracle cards, or the Threads of Fate Tarot that I have, the Weaver Tarot. How I have the Journeyman edition and the Ascendant edition. But let's get into it. You are great today. I'm glad to hear it. I'm tired. And it's interesting because before I went live, I replied to a Snapchat. Wait, what? Download your free Rockpool Oracle Reading Cards app? Hello? What that mean? Okay, sure. Why not? Maybe they'll have an Oracle deck on here that I can use with these. I'm thinking about you. So there's this song in my brain called Karma. And it's like I think there's this one part that's like Karma, come closer, lean on my shoulder, tell me what's good. I've been thinking about you. Is there a dark before the dawn? There was in my Discover Weekly. Anyway, I was on Snapchat before this, sending my friend a snap. Or I was looking at a Snap story, and then I got an ad for a game where you pulled pins, and then it's like there was this structure, and you pulled pins that held back these balls, and then the balls would fall, and you tried to fill up the bucket. But the thing was like, think before you pull. Think before you pull. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take that as advice because I'm like, oh, I'm about to go live. I'm about to pull cards. Think before you pull. Okay, I can try to do that. Oh snap! I saw his notification, but like I woke up at 1 o'clock, so his live was already over. I started a new show on Netflix last night and I fell into the Netflix trap. Like it was late enough. I was like, I got about 20 to 40 minutes before I'm ready to go to bed. The show is like an hour and 20 minutes long per episode. I watched the first episode and I was like, oh, I should go to bed, but it's a cliffhanger. So I watched the whole. I was like, I'll just watch like 10 minutes of the show and then I'll go to bed. I ended up watching the whole hour and 20-minute episode. Before I went to sleep, the sun was rising. I looked out of my window. I was like, oh. So yeah, I woke up late today. But your morning song today was Taylor Ashton, "Skeletons by the Sea." Ooh, I've never heard of the artist or the song. Sounds interesting. Oh, I'm gonna download this app real quick. 1 second. But yeah, think before you pool was the rock pool oracle was the thing on the app. I was like, okay. Oh, boom. I've been thinking about you. Ain't no much around. Tell me what's good. To me. Tell me what's good. Good. Oh, I was gonna go on Spotify to see who sang the song. Oh, it has lyrics. Years and Years is the artist. Oh, they're all here. Spotify added lyrics to some of the songs, and I love that. I mean, I was off of Spotify for a minute, so I don't know how new that update is. Is there a dark before the dawn? Oh no, y'all I can karaoke Spotify, right? Okay, sorry. Anyway, is there a dark before the dawn? Is this a problem or solution? No, I can't tell what's right or wrong. Is there a consequence for all I've done? Will I find sweet relief? Enemies are trying to catch up, but nothing's gonna with my love. Tired of erasing my history. Daddy said I never could win. That's probably why I never pretend, but good things are coming to me. Karma, come over, lean on my shoulder, tell me what's good. I've been thinking about you. Oh, so many questions in my life. Is every truth just an illusion? Tell me I'm broken by design, so I can't see the beauty in my flaws and find some peace of mind. Okay, anyway. Can you tell I'm like stalling? I'm just fine. I got the angels right here if I need them for assistance. Okay, anyway, let's go. And of course, we gotta go with the red finish on the sides. Hey, Kizzy Cat, how you doing? I almost went live instead of watching Netflix at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was like, oh, I can catch my folks across the pond or in different time zones. I'm thinking about you. Is every truth an illusion? I don't know. Go Scarabello. Ooh, this is the card back. It felt like. Oh, that makes sense. I was like, it felt like this is Mars and the other one is Saturn. You see the glyphs for Mars and Saturn. That's because in traditional astrology, I believe it's because in traditional astrology, Mars and Saturn are the two malefics, Venus and Jupiter are the two benefics. And I just saw something on Twitter. I think it was like on the same day that Saturn moves into Pisces, Mars will enter Cancer. And then it said something about the two malefics being in a different aspect or something. I don't know. I guess they'll trine when Saturn is in Mars. When Saturn is in Pisces, it'll trine Mars as it enters Cancer. But that's interesting because I think Mars in Cancer was something that I actually looked at not too long ago. Because I remember in my phone, I was flipping through, like trying to see when Mars was going to enter some sign. It was either Mars in Gemini or Mars in Cancer. And I was like, oh, that's like a while away. To me, I'm broken by design. Mm-hmm. Oop. Okay, well. Come on. Tired of erasing my history. History. Good things are coming. So Aman fell on the floor in reverse. Aman is the Two of Pentacles. It says, reveals the past and the future, reconciles friends and enemies. Or does it? And it's number 7. Does it reconcile friends and enemies and like enemies become friends, or like it makes me think of not Bixby. It makes me think of something I was watching recently. And it talked about how like if two people have a bond over how much they like hate or dislike somebody else, that's a weaker connection than like a connection that is formed out of like an appreciation or a love for each other. And I don't remember if that was like a Steven Universe thing when those two gems fused over how much they hate Steven, and they couldn't cooperate or work together until Steven was like trying to be Steven. And then they're like, oh, why don't you just shut up? I don't think it was that though. Maybe it was like a TV show and two people disliked somebody, so they became friends, but then they fell out, and the person was like reviewing it, and they were like that type of connection, that type of relationship is weaker than one that's built on love or whatever else, like a positive emotion, basically. Hey Zoda, how you doing? Let's see. Excuse me, what's all this? Oh gosh. Ace of Wands. What? History. Oh, they're numerical. Duh. Here it is. Reveals the past and the future, reconciles friends and enemies, resonates with the Two of Pentacles in the traditional tarot. That's it. There is no more information, and I can appreciate that. I don't know. Is that enemies becoming friends? Is that friends reconciling? Is it enemies? I don't know. I don't know. The bottom of the deck is Asmodeus, King of Wands, number 32. Makes men fly into passionate rage and desire, destroys the happiness of married couples, wastes the beauty of virgins, reveals the future. These are interesting because it's interesting that it says that this demon does all that, but then at the end, it's like it reveals the future. It feels like it just reveals the future. And then it's almost like what's that? It's not you can't handle the truth. Um but it's like when we see something that I don't it's like if you I've heard, okay. Like there'll be people who are like in a relationship or something. And one person will have a dream that the other person like cheated on them, or they had a dream that they said something that made them upset. I mean, you don't have to be in a relationship to have a dream about someone in your life doing something that you don't like to you, but then you wake up from the dream knowing that it was a dream, but you still feel some type of way. So you might just like be a little less nice that day because again, even though you know it's a dream, it might replay in your mind all day. And it feels like something about that is like similar. It's just like it just shows people the future, and maybe there's some truth in the future that they don't like, and so they go and do a thing. Now, would they have done the thing if they weren't shown that future? So there is a energy of suggestibility, I guess, here as well. And I think that's interesting because in Russ's Sadir Empath, I think video, that's the one where he talked about like even if you tell people to like take it as it resonates, it's like if people watch it, it's like he was talking about it's important to provide different possibilities and probabilities instead of just the one and like this is how it will work out because there's a suggestibility on people. But I think that's the thing about sort of like, all right, Zelda, that's the thing about, I think like any energy, any spiritual energy in particular, but it feels like what's deemed more angelic plays on the strengths of humanity and its kindness and stuff like that. And then what's deemed demonic plays on our weaknesses. And so it's like, let's say that someone is like petty and jealous and whatever. Like all you got to do is go up and say like, "Oh, I heard that this person is talking to that other person," and that's it. And then in their own minds, it'll spin out, and it turns into this whole thing. And it's like, would it have done that? I don't know. It just, oof. That's why we just got to be better. You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Malphus at the cut. Builds houses and high towers, destroys an enemy's thoughts and desires, and all they have built, gives good familiars. But I think, oh, that's the Ten of Swords. Am I going to have to pull out the Daemon Tarot? Hold up. Because I think Malphus was one of the ones. And it was also interesting that the Two of Pentacles talked about the past and the future as well. See, but maybe that's the thing. It's like with Asmodeus, everything relationships fall to ruin because it only reveals the future. But with the Two of Pentacles, it revealed the past and the future. So it gives us more of a context. And with context comes understanding. It's like if someone tells you, oh, this person is going to do this to you. So don't blah, 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 or do blah, 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 blah. And I guess like that's fine because in a certain way, everything is objective, even when it's subjective, because things hurt and pain is real. But it's like you might not necessarily get like why the person is doing what they're doing. Like, is there a reason? Is there a background? Is there like a trauma here? Or is this person just not a great person? Is this person going through something like rough? Is it all just one big misunderstanding? No. I will be right back. All right, I'm back. History. What? I'm sorry to hear that, Kirsty. I hope you get to feeling better like soon, and there's no lagging residual unwellness. Oh, hold up. Malphus is one of the ones I've seen before. Oops. Oh no, the happy tarot is on the floor. Ah! Sorry. Here it is. We still got the tarot after the rainbow, but I'm going to have to remember to pick that up. Tarot Nefertari. Oh, well, that one's on the ground. Here we go. Oh, goodness. All right. Oh, gosh. Could you see the mess behind me? Yep, it's fine. I'm getting like all up close and personal today. It's fine. All right. Oh, gosh. Is this Travis McHenry? No, this is Ariana Osborne. I mean, I feel like might as well go for the Goatia now, or however you pronounce it. Oof. Okay. Yep. Here's Malphus. So, oh, the illustrate. Oops, the illustrations are actually different. And one of them he's looking back, and this one he's looking forward. It says Colin DePlancy also mentions Malphus's gifts at finding capable workers and good familiars. It said though that for those who summon him, familiars are perhaps less useful in our everyday lives, but a strongly structured company requires a foundation of good workers. So we see that Malphus's skill at building are not only with wood and stone, but also with people. Malphus is one of blah, blah, blah. One of his forms is that of a raven, and even when he manifests in human form, he is unable to hide his harsh, loud voice. His specialty is that of architecture and engineering. Not only can he assist those who summon him with building towers and walls, that's what this said, right? Builds houses and high towers. Um, Building towers and walls that cannot be climbed over or broken down, but also he can point out the structural weaknesses in other structures so that they may be broken down. And that's how he destroys an enemy's. Okay. See, this is more like that. This background makes sense. I got this years ago. Y'all remember that one Sagittarius person that I was talking about having a trauma bond with? He's basically the reason why I bought this like years ago. Um, Interestingly enough, but some of those are like aren't even daemons or demons. They're just like Ra is in there, and there's some Inuit god that helps hunters. It's like, but I guess that's what happened, you know. One person's deities are another one's demons, apparently, because there's only one. But anyway. So Malthus was at the bottom or at the cut. I was like, oh, I've seen Malthus. Malthus is not who I thought Malthus was. I must have been thinking of. Well, the building part, I guess, was right, but there was another one that sees like the past, present, and future, and can. It talked about relationships or something. I don't remember. So we're gonna get a few of these, I guess. Oh gosh, not like 20. Make sure I put them up right. Is that gonna mess them up? History, Lucifer. So I pulled 3. I guess I could just like show you all these. First up is Max. Number 21, Page of Pentacles. Teaches astronomy and liberal science. Knows the virtues of precious stones and herbs. Gives very good familiars. Everything is about good familiars, apparently. So my mom showed me when I was talking about how I pulled Pachamama one night, and then the next day Pachamama was like, well, let me pop up in your real life so you can kind of sort of find out who I am and what I'm about. So the next day maybe I came home from work. I don't know. My mom was outside on the porch. I let the dog out, and then I walked all the way around the house to try to get her because she tries to scare me all the time. I never scare her, but like one time I did because she thought I was asleep, and she came in my room, and I was like, ah! That's the only time I've been able to get her. And that was like within the past few months, I think. Maybe at the top of the year. Recently. But she showed me this TikTok. Apparently, there's a trend on TikTok right now where people will go up to trees and they'll say, like, touch me on my shoulder. And then the tree, with like no wind or whatever, the tree will like move and touch them on the shoulder. And I was like, my mom was like, you should do this. You should try this. I was like, I'm not. No, I don't need to know that nature is alive and can respond to simple and maybe even complex commands. Like no. And my mom was like, even in the Bible, it says that we can learn from nature and this and that or something. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I actually thought about doing it earlier today. That was a few days ago. But then she sent me something, and it's like a trend on TikTok. It's trending, like, and that's one of the things it's like that's why a few videos ago, towards the end of the video, I was like, thank you indigos and first and second and whatever waivers for building the foundation, because it's like so heavy in my like observable life. Like apparently everybody and their mama has gone through shadow work and knows about like healing and vibrations and stuff like that. Apparently that lingo was just like everywhere. Dark nights of the soul and like how to navigate them and stuff like that. It's like I'm seeing it everywhere, and now this is popping up. And my mom called me and she was like, somebody left a comment that was like, it's about time people start to see and realize like like our connection with nature and stuff like that. And she was like, the animals have been waiting for us to like wake up for a long time or something like that. She was like, the animals are waiting for us to wake up or something. And I was like, is that why these birds just be whatever? And she's like, well, these birds are different. But anyway, it made me think of that because of the good familiars. I don't know if it's the connection with nature. I don't know if it's the nature spirit that Rob connected to or brought forward a minute ago. That was like, see, I mean, but that was a thing for a hot second, right? And I remember Kathy went and she pulled the cards, and there was the deer, belladonna, and something else. But I'm just like, okay, so than walking face first into a spider web. I was somewhere. I was moving stuff to storage the day before yesterday, and there was like a spider web on my right hand. I was like, oh gosh. So you drew a lot of people animal hybrids. Oh snap. Yeah. And maybe there's just a part of me that's like, there's a part of me that wants it for life to be like this super magical, more than the ordinary. But maybe there's another part of me that's like, once you know, there is no unknowing, and once you see, you can't unsee. And it's like, are you really ready to leave your boring, humdrum, mundane understanding of everything? And part of me is like, maybe not. But I was like, you know what? I can't be like that anymore. So I'm gonna walk up to the tree and be like, if you don't mind, could you please just tap me on the shoulder? And then like the whole tree just like picks me up or something. I'm like, okay, that's more than I asked for. You're doing too much. You're doing too much. Anyway. All the good familiar energies makes me think of like the person who left a comment on the video about the tree touching the person, and apparently it's a trend on TikTok. But also like spiritual TikTok is like a whole thing. So I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. Um the person about like the animals waiting for us to wake up or whatever. So ooh, excuse me. I need to get my hair twisted. Okay. So there's Max. Teaches astronomy and liberal science, knows the virtues of precious stones and herbs, gives very good familiars. What I like about Merox is there's the there's a good balance here between what earth, water, and air. I'd say water is more like the no astronomy, not astrology. So, well, basically, it was like the stars and the ground. It's the stars through astronomy. It's very like scientific and analytical with liberal science, but also it's connected to the earth. Um, knows the virtues of precious stones and herbs. So it's the stones and the stars. Gives very good familiars. The second card is Lucy, and Lucy is death in this deck. Provides liberation and illumination, incites jealousy and envy. Well, of course, Lucy provides illumination because doesn't it mean like light bearer or light bringer or something like that? This is very like, oh my gosh. Inciting jealousy and envy. See, that's why I feel like some of this is just like it's it feels like it's more people than anything. You know what I mean? Like if someone is prone to jealousy, then you don't have to do much to incite jealousy. And why is like liberation and illumination? See, it's because a lot of people have like a crab in a barrel mentality, but it makes sense because it feels like there's like so much competition. There's more competition than there is cooperation. Scarcity mindset, lack mentality is a thing, and it all just works together to make it easier for us to be against each other than to support one another. But it's almost like the jealousy and envy that it incites from other people is because of the ones who are reach some kind of liberation or reach some kind of illumination. I don't know. Maybe I'm just on a not feeling too great about humanity kick. Maybe not. But I mean, it kind of sort of just is what it is, though. If someone's a jealous person, you don't have to do much of anything to incite their jealousy. Like, you can go to the grocery store and just buy a loaf of bread, And that person like, oh, look at them just getting loaves of bread at the grocery store. Do you know how much bread costs right now? Somebody somewhere could have used that money to do something completely different. I don't know. The last card is Marbas, and it's the Ten of Wands. Causes and cures diseases, tell secrets and things hidden, can make one shapeshift. This looks like a chess piece. Looks like it's holding a chess piece. What number is this? Number 5. That's interesting because I have a pun calendar this year instead of the Farmer's Almanac. And my pun for Friday or Thursday, I think it was for Thursday, it was like Chiron was a Greek half horse, half man doctor. So he was the centaur for disease control, like the Center for Disease Control. But it said he was the centaur for disease control. And that makes me think of this causes and cures diseases. Tell secrets and things hidden. See, it feels like there's a connection between secrets and diseases that feels very like Ayurvedic. Um, where it's like if you're experiencing this, and it's not just Ayurveda. I think it's more. There are other like Eastern medicine systems, and probably some native ones too. That's like if this is something that you're suffering from, or if there's a pain in the kidney, it might be because you're holding on to the loss of a cat, and because like you don't work through that grief, it just holds in your body, it hurts the kidney, and then it uh, impacted or compromised kidney can manifest this happening in your body. It ties the physical back to the mental slash emotional. Yeah, mental is a mental word. It ties the physical back to the mental emotional. And so it feels like in telling the secret or revealing something hidden, it can cure a disease. Well, on one hand, it can cure disease in like a therapeutic way, like therapy. Like once you get it off your chest and you're able to finally like process it and work through it, then you don't hold on to or like the burden. And it's the Ten of Wands, so again, it makes sense. The burden, the emotional, mental burden gets lighter, so the physical burden also lessens and loosens. Um, but going back to Amon, Malthus? No, going back to the one that was like causes rage and blah 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 by revealing the future. It's like maybe some of those truths were not necessarily ready to handle. Oh, I'm watching this show, a new show on Netflix, and there's a dryad in the show, and the person's like, "Oh my god, dryads are real!" Like what? Um, and she said, "People lie, and people hurt things." No, she said people lie, and this other dude was like, "Well, sometimes the truth is more painful. Like sometimes truth is painful." And in the Karma song, it asked if all truths are just illusions or something like that. History. Okay. So this is just like what's wrong with people. I'm just playing. The bottom of the deck is the Page of Swords. Gives answers of past, present, and future. And again, no, well this time reconciles friends and foes is here. Gives answers of past, present, and future, reconciles friends and foes. There's that reconciliation again. Teaches rhetoric and languages, gives one a good reputation, makes one beloved by friends and foes. Six of Cups at the bottom, under that. Looks like Quetzalcoatl a little bit. See, the Page of Swords, it looks like a straight up snake, but in the Six of Cups, it has wings. So there is an evolution here. It's interesting too, because we have tell secrets and things hidden, but then in the Page of Swords, it gives answers of the past, present, and future. It feels like the reconciliation with the giving answers between past, present, and future. I think that just picks up on the energy of that Two of Pentacles, where it's like with the past and the future, there's context. We can understand the reason why some people do what they do. And knowing and understanding the reason doesn't always, if ever, but doesn't always excuse behaviors, but it helps to make a path towards a future where it doesn't repeat, because now like the root issue can be handled and addressed. And maybe it is a root issue because of the red in all these cards. See, but that's the thing too. It preys, I mean, they can prey on the weaknesses of humans. Those are root issues, like root chakra issues. And with them being root chakra issues, that's the foundation of everything. So anything you create from the sacral, you push out from the solar plexus and blah, 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 blah. If the soil is messed up, there's a high chance it's not going to be great. But, it can be really easy to focus on like, oh, I want my third eye to be open so I can see and experience that. And, I want my heart to be open because I want to be in a relationship and I want my crown to be open so I can receive these downloads and be the super psychic, whatever. But if the root is messed up, if any of them are messed up, kind of actually, because like the antique anatomy said, they're all interconnected. So if one is messed up or out of balance, it has the ability to poison any of the other ones. But intentions may be good, but the root is just beyond gone. So I'll get 5 more from the top, 3 from the bottom, 2 from the middle. Oh, it's Furfur! Just to show y'all some more cards. So Furfur, 10 of Cups, number 34, creates love between man and woman, creates thunder and great storms, gives answers on divine secrets. Bodis, again, Page of Swords, number 17, gives answers of past, present, and future, reconciles friends and foes. From the middle, it's Zepar, the Lovers, which was actually under the Six of Cups. Causes women to love men and brings them together in love, can make women barren. Number 16, Larai, number 14, Nine of Swords, causes great battles and wars, causes wounds to putrefy. And then Aim, number 23, Five of Cups, reveals secrets and increases one's intellect, spreads destruction by fire. I almost want to intentionally butcher these names as bad as I can, but it's the connotations. I'm just like, I don't know. It's fine. Two of Wands, Epos, number 22, tells of the past and the future, can make one intelligent and bold. Seven of Wands, Glacia Labolis. Number 25, causes murder and bloodshed, tells of things to come, causes the love of friends or enemies, can make one invisible. Nefarious, Seven of Pentacles, number 24, Seven of Wands, Seven of Pentacles. Teaches arts, sciences, and rhetoric, restores lost honors and dignities, takes honor and dignity from others. Ami, Six of Pentacles, number 58, teaches astrology and liberal sciences, reveals hidden treasure, and brings excellent familiars. So we go from good familiars to very good familiars to excellent familiars. Also, here's the astrology and not the astronomy of the other one. And then Vipar, the Eight of Cups, number 42, guide of the waters, can make storms and rough seas, causes men to die in 3 days of putrid wounds. And we saw the one that putrefies wounds. Not clean. If you dress a wound with unclean water, it will make things worse, you know? And some of these are old. Some of these, you know, when they were writing the books or whatever, it was in a time where, you know, people didn't necessarily know that if you got nasty stuff in the water and you got an open wound and you use what you think is water to heal, it might actually do the opposite because there's something in the water that's not healing. Right? Anyway. So now I'm going to mix this with the angel deck. We're going to combine them and we're going to pull cards, I guess, because why not? Michael at the top of the deck, love to see it, especially for this. I think I'm going to split these in half. Yeah, I'm going to split these in half. And I'm going to do this side, that side. So in this side, that side, kings and queens hold the same weight. Aces are low, pages are high. And then all the majors are the same. But besides that, it's numerical. So this stack is bigger than this one, but that's fine. Let's see what's that. Things are coming to me. Come, lay no Michelle. Sounds good, good. I've been thinking about you. Oh. Okay. So I got the two split. So it's like War, if you've ever played War. So 3 face down. And then 1 face up. We got the 7 of Wands against the Chariot. The Chariot is going to take it since it's a major, but it's worth noting that they're both traditionally 7s. The 7 of Wands we just saw is Glacia Labolis. Causes murder and bloodshed, tells of things to come, causes the love of friends or enemies, can make one invisible. And on the other side is Andras, number 63, which is the Chariot, sower of discord, slayer of men. So the bloodshed is on both sides. Andras is going to take it. The 3 cards supporting are Hanael, the Lovers, the 4 of Cups, Melahel, and the 6 of Swords, Seer. Hanael, the Lovers, joy of God. Joy and pleasure brings happiness to couples, removes negative energy. With Melahel, 4 of Cups, the God deflecting evil. Healing capacity, protection from weapons, safety, and travel. So this one got 2 angels and a demon. 6 of Swords, Seer, travels the world over in an instant and brings anything anywhere, gives the truth about thefts and hidden treasures, willing to do anything one commands. Well, I like that until it said anything one commands. Um, but it's interesting that the Four of Cups Melahel mentions safety and travel, and then Seer travels the world over in an instant and can bring anything anywhere. Both of these cards actually mention travel, and they came out behind the Chariot energy. Um, Sower of Discord, Slayer of Men. I mean, I feel like might not get too much besides that, but because we have the lovers here. I mean, I guess that kind of could be a little um, Helen of Troy. Resonates with the Chariot and the traditional tarot. Yeah, it says that and then resonates with the Chariot. It's interesting that it's on page 90 because it's a 63.9. Mm, what am I? Think before you pull. Maybe I should have did that because I'm like, well, what even is the thing here? Well, let's look at the other side. Seven of Wands causes murder and bloodshed. Then we have Sower of Discord, Slayer of Men. Tells of things to come. Causes the love of friends or enemies. And then we have the lovers over here. Joy and pleasure brings happiness to couples. These are all demons on the other side. Two of Wands, again, we've already seen two of these. Backed by Epos number 22, Two of Wands, tells of the past and the future, can make one intelligent and bold. And then Shax, the Four of Cups, steals or fetches anything requested, including money and horses. Reveals secret things, brings questionable familiars. We've had good familiars, we've had great familiars, we've had excellent familiars. Now we get the questionable ones. Oh gosh. And then Ami, Six of Pentacles. Teaches astrology and liberal sciences, reveals hidden treasure, and brings excellent familiars. Okay, so right next to each other. The Four of Cups brings the questionable familiars. The Six of Pentacles brings the excellent ones. Four of Cups is 44. There's a 22 and a 44 here, but then a 58. $22 on the Two of Wands, 44 on the Four of Cups, 68 or 58, sorry, on the Six of Pentacles. And I'm looking at the illustration because I know in Okami, Amaterasu incarnates as a white wolf, and what's his name? Ishun. We have Ipo. I think his name is Ishun or something like that. Calls her Ami. I keep looking over here because that's where my camera usually is, but it's here. Reveals secret things. Reveals hidden treasures. Um, it feels like this Six of Pentacles is out of reach. Because, like, there's the Master number 22, there's the Master number 44. And these master numbers 22 and 44 feel very restraining, or they feel very like limited to Earth, or they feel boxed in by human understanding. And with the 58 being a 13, the one beyond the 12 months in a year, the 12, what the number of 12, the prison of 12, that is like time. 5 12s is 60, which is, minutes to hours. 2 12s is 24, which is hours in a day. Um, it feels like this, and it's like astrology and liberal sciences, more so the astrology part. It feels like it's out of reach. It feels like this energy gets stuck like here, and it feels like it's a very incomplete understanding, uh, which is great for making people easier to manipulate, or understanding the limitations of one's understanding, and like feeding them certain information, knowing that they won't ask certain questions. Again, makes them easy to manipulate. But I almost wonder, like, when it says tales, like, is that the truth? Because the Seven of Wands says tales of things to come. But is that the truth? Or does it just tell people, like, hey, this is coming, hey, that's coming, so prepare, brace yourself? Now, these say reveals. Reveals feels more like the truth because it feels like it's there. And then when it's revealed, it's like there but not seen. But when it's revealed, it's there and seen. Right? Like, if I'm like, I have a tree behind my hand, I'm telling you what's behind my hand. But if I reveal what's behind my hand, it's nothing. Or it's Saturn. I can tell you anything. But when I reveal something, I have to like move my hand for you to see what's actually behind it. Now, what's interesting between these two is in the Four of Cups, it reveals secret things. And it brings questionable familiars because of the secret things that were revealed. But in the Six of Pentacles, it reveals hidden treasure. And it feels like secret things can be anything. That's why it's questionable. But hidden treasure implies it's like something of great worth, which is why it brings excellent familiars. And maybe it's more of that think before you pull. I don't know if it's like truths that we're not necessarily ready to handle. Maybe it's a little bit of confirmation bias. Like, turtle power. What? Oh, turtle time. Maybe it's a little bit of confirmation bias. Like, if we already go into a situation, especially assuming the worst, and we ask a question for something to be revealed and a secret is revealed, or we are told something that confirms what we already thought or believed, then that can be enough of a reason for us to go and murder and cause bloodshed and do all of this other stuff, all of this other not great stuff. And it's almost like even if what was told, even if what was revealed is true, it is like that truth is taken out of context. It's like, here's the context. That truth is literally taken out of context. And it's just that. And because it's like without the context, we fill in the bias that we already held and it confirms it. We take that truth, like, here's the context. We take that truth out. So now it's okay. Well, I did that the wrong way. So now it's like this, all of this that was true. And then here's the context that we want to have. And we just like put that little part right there. So it completes the story that we already wanted to tell. Type of energy. Oh, snap. Hey, Eve. I'm doing all right. How are you? I am navigating my fears with these creatures. I'm just, I'm just, sorry. And then on the other side, because it's still the sower of discord, slayer of men. So this side isn't great either. Maybe this one, it's more along the lines of like, what was that? Crimes of Passion. What was I watching? Was that Umbrella Academy? Maybe not. Maybe it was a different show. And somebody was like, oh, like, don't you watch? It was like, oh, it's always the spouse or it's always the lover or something like that. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, haven't you ever watched like, I don't know, Law and Order, Crimes of Passion? But that's what this feels like. But since it feels like it's like the love is real, the relationship is real, this willing to go the distance and do anything and everything, the protection is real, but it feels like it takes advantage of that in some way. It's almost like because there is so much love there, it's really easy to like shift that into the direction of the opposite. But it wouldn't be like the opposite of love for that person. It would be the opposite of love for someone else who might do that person wrong or who did that person wrong. And it's manipulative with Andros. Neither side is necessarily good or great. What's interesting is like on the right side, on the side that won, building up to the conclusion was like two angels with really good energies. And then in slips this demon with an energy that kind of sort of mirrors one of the angels. And then we're like all the way off the rails. On the other side, it starts not necessarily great, but then there's this like really beautiful balancing energy on the end of it and revealing the hidden treasures and bringing excellent familiars. But because like the beginning was so bad, we don't necessarily get to the better place before we reach the conclusion, and it still goes off the rails. I wish I had another deck, but I was like, well, how do I fix this? Crabs. Oh, wait, was it your kids' birthday? Because I believe you said they're cancers and you're a Virgo. And I was like, ooh, Virgo with twin cancers. Happy belated, I'm assuming, birthday to your children. Or to two of them. I think you might have three. I think you said you have three. I don't remember. I just feel like this is the reason why it's like, oh my gosh. I would love a rice cooker. Our old rice cooker broke, and I was like, Mom, we need a new rice cooker. This was probably a few years ago now. Well, I mean, I've only been home for like a year and a half, so like a year ago maybe. Um, and she was like, okay, and she went out and bought a new rice cooker, but the new rice cooker makes goopy rice. Like all of the rice is super wet. No matter how much water you put in, it's always too much. And it's like when you do a cup of water per cup of rice, or when you do like the cup and a half or 2 cups, it's like even a 1-to-1 is too much water. For some reason, it just does not. I don't know if it doesn't get hot enough when it's cooking the rice or what, but that rice cooker is not great. The old rice cooker was amazing, and it just died one day, and it was sad. So the birthday is today. Oh snap! It's 107 degrees. Yeah. It's your daughter's birthday tomorrow. Oh snap! Well, happy birthday to all of the children. To the Virgo mothers with Cancer children, happy birthday. Hold up, wait. She's a Virgo. She's a Virgo. Why was I thinking she was a Libra? So that makes sense. So in the micro department at work, it's me, a Pisces, and my other coworker who's also a Pisces. And we have this. There's a girl that we hired about a month ago. Um, she's Virgo. Because yesterday I was like, she mentioned somebody's birthday being today, maybe. And I was like, oh, when's your birthday? And she said September 10th. I was like, oh, snap. And I was like, oh, my best friend's birthday is like around there. And like, I know that she's a Virgo. I don't know why my brain was like, Libra. Well, maybe that's because somebody else's birthday is at the end of September and I know that they're a Libra. And so I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, that's why, because all of the September Libras I know. Um, is there any fixing this? I don't know. Let's see. We got these. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna shuffle these and try to get a card. How do we go from this to something better? Because either way, it's like there's bloodshed, and usually that's not how this works. But if we look at the history of humanity, apparently signs point to more often than not, yeah, it doesn't matter which side you're on or who believes they're right and who thinks the other person is wrong. It ends to bloodshed and tragedy. And is that ever the solution? So the Two of Swords came out in reverse, number 37, and it's Aniel, God, Lord of all virtues. Breaking the circle lifts opposing barriers and brings victory. Why is it in reverse? I mean, breaking the circle is like, I feel like that would be breaking this repeating whatever. And who wants that to continue? I hope you enjoy the birthdays. Thank you for stopping by. I feel special. Why does. Oh, because it's God of all virtues. God, Lord of all virtues. Because the word virtue signaling just popped into my mind. And it feels like this sword cuts both ways. It's not this sword cuts both ways, because there are two swords that each cut both ways. And so I feel like, because going back to like the ones who believe that they're right and they believe that the others are wrong, and them being right and others being wrong, bloodshed. That's sort of part of the discord. And it feels like there's a certain level of humility needed that might be hard to come by. And this situation in particular, since it's the lovers and super relationshipy, it's like with certain lovers and with certain types of love, it's really easy to like be overly critical of anyone who does wrong to someone that we love, and at the same time it's really easy for us to be dismissive of the wrongdoings of those that we love. And so because we overly dismiss the wrongdoings of our loves and we overly criticize those who do our loves wrong, it creates this severely unbalanced, impossible to sort of like bring to, I want to say, clarity situation. And it feels like somewhere in that is a hangup. It feels like there's a lack of a willingness to do either or both of those things to bring this into balance, which is why it's really easy for Andros to come in, sow discord, and get people to kill people. But again, like, but that's the circle. Because when we do something against the loved one of another because of something that was done to a loved one of ours, now someone else has to go in and get vengeance and retribution for their loved one in retaliation to what we did. And then, so maybe they do something to another loved one or they do something to us. And then we have to, it's like this endless cycle of retaliation that never stops. So that doesn't, I mean, I guess it tells us how to fix it. Right? It tells us how to fix it by showing what the problem is. Now, on this other side, how do we reconcile this? It seems like there's not a lot of angels on this side, but this side has more cards, and I feel like there definitely are. They just did not come out. Oh, I gotta go to the restroom. Where did the card go? The Happy Tarot and Rainbow Tarot are the same size, and last night I put them together and I pulled some cards. I didn't really pull. I feel like if I pull cards and I'm not live, there's no real like incentive for me to dig as deep as I do when I go live. So more often than not, when I pull cards for myself, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, and then I put them away, and that's it. I was like, okay, all right, yeah, I'm done. We still don't get an angel on this side, but we get the Three of Pentacles, which is Gamagan number 4. Teaches all liberal sciences, gives an account of souls that died in sin. Oh, it's a horse head. Um, is there no retribution or vindication for this side at all? Because teaches all liberal sciences feels like mental gymnastics, especially when it comes to this. And it feels like a person's ability to justify like anything that they do. And it's like they're never in the wrong. There's never anything for them to apologize for or whatever. And because it's almost like, how do you reconcile anything with somebody like that? How do you reconcile something with someone who will never see their wrongs or their faults? My personal thing, I just let them go. I let them be. It's like, you know what? You're right. You can be right. I'm done. Tales of the past and future can make one intelligent and bold. That intelligent, they're both fours. There's a 22 4 and then this four. Two of Wands, Five of Pentacles. Yeah, see? Two of Wands, Five of Pentacles makes one intelligent and bold, and they never see their wrongs. That's that it's that special type of person that I. It's like it's the type of person like, oh, I'm so smart, I'm so intelligent. Like, no, like it's either like everyone's intimidated by my intelligence, and that's why no one likes me, or it's like I'm better than everybody else. And then if that person for whatever likes you, or if you like that person and then you find out it's very like that same storyline, but then it's like, but like, I like you, or but like you get me, you like me, and then it turns into some kind of like, maybe not a pity thing, but I don't, it's like they never see that the fault, they never see that the, like, they don't necessarily carry up the burden of connection. It feels like there may be others that come into their lives that do, but at a certain point, like, it's oof, it feels like it gets exhausting. Maybe not, for some people. Maybe some people just keep being there. But that's why I was like, oof, because not only does it make them intelligent, it makes them bold. And being intelligent and bold can be cool when there's a energy of like progression sort of in a space, and it's like saying what needs to be said in a way that it needs to be said in order to get things to move forward, type of energy. Like, that's amazing, that's great. But if it's like wrong and it's bold but it thinks that it's right, it's like, okay, you're doing all this and not even realizing that not only are you contributing to the problem, you're becoming a major contributor to the problem. And all of your solutions to the problem create further problems. So, but again, it feels like it would never see it. So, is there any reconciliation? I don't know. It's like, are they going to get over like their ego? Maybe there is some kind of hurt or pain there that makes them need to be right for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they really feel real like isolated, outcast, black sheep because they are so smart, or they're so this, or they're so that, and nobody else gets it. Nobody else understands. Everyone else is intimidated. Everybody else is wrong. I'm like, oh, girl, that sounds. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I don't think there anything. I don't think there is anything outside of that person that could be said to a person like that, or to an energy like that, to a company like that, to a boss like that, who is a person. It's like, what can you say if they believe that they're always right? What can you say if they believe that they're never in the wrong, or that the fault is solely yours? What can be said? At least on the other side, there was some hopes of some kind of reconciliation, even if it was in reverse. But when it comes out in reverse, it's like, well, we know what we have to do. But with that, and it was upright. And it was upright. It's like, yeah, it's like, oh, everyone else is the problem, everybody else is wrong. If they would have done what I said, then everything would have been fine. It's like, okay, but we literally did what you said and it didn't work out. It's like, oh, well, I said it like this, and like, you did it wrong. You did what I said, but you did it wrong, or you didn't do it right, or I meant it like this and you took it the wrong way because you're stupid and I'm too smart. Like, you didn't understand what I meant. And it's like, okay. And it's funny because I was walking in the store earlier and I was just thinking about how, like, I don't want to say how we like overestimate people sometimes, but it's just like, if there is no real desire to do what is right or to do what is needed, even when it's difficult, but sometimes especially when it's difficult, then why, not why bother, but it's like if people don't want to do right, is it futile? I mean, it's for the divine to do, I guess, if it is for them to ever be anything more than what they are. If they ever want to be anything more than what they are, and I don't, it's weird. It's one of those, like, maybe it's not everybody else. Maybe it's you. And who wants to hear that? Nobody. But the sooner you can, like, get it, accept it, work on it, be more friendly, be more approachable, extend grace, realize that something, like, then you can get to actual genuine, like, connections and relationships where you can be appreciated, or find somebody else who's exactly the same. I don't know. Anyway. Who sounds like a fight between Virgo and Sagittarius. Losing a bunch of subscribers after you posted what? Oh, I love the parody video. What? At first, I was like, "Oh, this is like really cute," and then like the other side came in, I was like, "Oh, snap!" They was like, "Yeah, you ain't gonna eat that salad. Go in there, eat your pizza, and drink your wine." But I forget what you said, because I think you mentioned. No, that was somebody else. That was like, cauliflower isn't real pizza. That was the Minnow Pond. That was the Minnow Pond Tarot. He was like, and like for all of those people saying eat a cauliflower pizza isn't real pizza. I was like, oh, you tell them. Anyway, so let's get a final card. We'll do the angels after the angel tarot after their cult tarot, because is my food here? Thank you, Matthew. Did she even go? I don't even think I heard the car. Hopefully she went, because my food was done a long time ago. Okay. So we get a few. Oh, Merax again. All right. The bottom of the deck is... I have reversals in this deck. You know what? I will keep reversals in this deck. Most of the cards are... No, it's a healthy mix of reversals. That wasn't intentional. The gift? Oh! So the gift was the Occult Tarot. Here's this. Where is it? The gift was the Occult Tarot from Matthew. I have the box, like, here it is. And because we found out that flowers are terrifying, Demogorgon, Funko Pop. Yeah. It was hilarious. It was very funny. Thank you, Matthew, again, for spoiling me. Oh, we saw both of these. So the two cards are Marax and Fornius, the Page of Pentacles and the Six of Cups. They're both threes, a 21-3 and a 30. Teaches astronomy and liberal science, knows the virtues of precious stones and herbs, gives very good familiars, and teaches rhetoric and languages, gives one a good reputation, makes one beloved by friends and foes, beloved by friends and foes. These are the final two cards. I can get down with these two. Um, we got liberal sciences, rhetoric and language, and astronomy. Astronomy and liberal science with the knowing the virtues of precious stones and herbs is interesting because, again, like with astronomy, well, Earth is a planet, but I guess astronomy more so focuses on planets and astral planets and celestial bodies that aren't like Earth. Even though a fair amount of a fair amount of astronomy probably is also like Earth is included in that. But it feels like Earth is included as like the reference point, and a lot of other things are sort of like compared to what we see here. But anyway, there's the stars in astronomy, there's the earth and the stones and herbs, and then there's liberal science, which helps us to connect the two in a way. Not in the way that astronomy and liberal sciences did, so maybe not necessarily in a deeper, more spiritual context, but the analytical literal can reveal just as much. Um, and so we have that nice, good understanding. And then with the rhetoric and language, it feels like there's an ability to communicate all that is observed and interconnected, like the interconnections between the stars in the sky, the interconnections between our bodies and the stones and herbs, and the relationship between the stones and herbs, our bodies, and the stars in the sky. Like it's all this one very fluid understanding and an ability to communicate that understanding, which is gorgeous. And we get very good familiars, leave the questionable ones where they come from. Bottom of the deck is in reverse Valak, the Wheel of Fortune number 62. Tells where treasures are hidden, reveals hidden dangers. Is it in reverse? Yeah, I think it was in reverse. Uh, Because that's why I was like, but there are reversals in here, and there are reversals in here. I haven't seen that card in this book, so I don't know if it is in this book. We'll see. Also, in this book is Volak, and it looks like the illustrations are pretty similar. It looks like the same illustration, but the names are spelled differently. So the annotation, according to the pseudomonia or pseudomonarchia demonium, he's a president in command of 30 infernal legions. His face and figure are those of a beautiful young boy child with the wings of an angel. His voice is soft and sweet, and his demeanor is gentle and kind. To all appearances, Volok would be the visual inspiration for the Renaissance Putty, but for his choice of transport, a ferocious two-headed dragon. So it's this sweet little cherub of an angelic boy child with the voice of honey, with the method of transport of a ferocious two-headed dragon. Volok is a gentle and non-violent daemon by all accounts, but he has the gift of communication with all serpents. His gift allows him to find any snake in the world, and he can speak to it, and it will answer his questions and follow his commands. And so, although Volok does not look very powerful, he has at his disposal a host of powerful and clever creatures, from the great dragon he uses as a steed to the tiny grass snakes that can seek the locations of hidden treasures. Divination, beware of underestimating soft spoken or mild mannered individuals. Many capable individuals are easily overlooked because they are quiet. What's interesting is through this, we know that he's got a parcel tongue. He can speak to all manner of. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Okay, sorry. Sorry. Anyway, he can speak to all manner of snakes, even dragons. And then in the Four of Cups, or the Six of Cups, sorry, is Fornius. So Valak can speak to Fornius. What is Fornius associated with? Teaches rhetoric and languages, gives one a good reputation, makes one beloved by friends and foes. So Valak has the power to tell Fornius to make this one beloved, teach this one rhetoric, and do all of the stuff that you do with this one. Do all of the stuff that you do with that one. It could also say, don't do it with this one, don't do it with that one. I don't think it's that. But it's almost like that is what gives okay, sorry. Oh goodness. It feels like that's what gives Valak, especially in this, the position of the Wheel of Fortune, because it's almost like with this being one aspect, um, it gives him a little bit of a power and direction. But what's also interesting is like you don't necessarily need a snake to teach you those things. You know what I mean? Like you can learn rhetoric and English or languages anywhere. You can build a good reputation. You don't have to be given one. And so it's almost like for those who fortune would overlook, make your own. You have that power, gift, and ability as a human. But, to have a good reputation, to build a good reputation, um, I don't want to say you got to do good stuff to have a good reputation, but it's kind of there. You know what I mean? Like, can you be a terrible person with a good reputation? Some people might, but they might have money or a celebrity or something to make up the gap between what they're known for and as and who they actually are. And then eventually, at the end of the day, if the person doesn't match the profile, you find out real quick. I was catfished into thinking that you were like a decent person, but now I find out you're actual garbage. Like, what? It's like, oof, yeah, well, don't believe everything you see on TV. Okay? Just because I play a character who's lovable and whatever on TV, and just because I always get the good roles, doesn't mean I'm a good person. It's like, okay, point taken. I hear you loud and clear. But there are some people like Brenda Song, when she played London. I grew up on Brenda Song being London Tipton. So when I saw her in like The Social Network, I was like, what? She can read? I was like, oh my gosh, Brenda Song is like literate. And she was in Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior still in her Disney days, but I always saw her as London Tipton. So I was surprised, like, when she could form like a coherent sentence that, like, not a coherent sentence, but like a complex one that involved a certain depth of logic. And I was like, what? Wow. The Catfish show makes you want to puke. Neve Schumann is cute. So that's nice. That's nice. I was like, yeah, but he's pretty attractive to me. So okay, that's interesting. And maybe that's something that's like, maybe a fair amount of people like want a good reputation, or they want to be known as this and they want to be known as that. But it's like, okay, but where's the action to like back it up? Because that's how reputations become a thing. Like, because you become known for doing the thing that you want to be known for. So you got to do the thing. And maybe Fornius, the education part, instructs us on how to do those things. Almost like a etiquette school, right? In a way, maybe. Hey, Steph, welcome back? Question mark. I think you were here earlier. It does eventually come out. Yeah. And it's like, oof. But that was interesting. That was interesting. Okay. Oh, I got reversals in this deck too. Oof. Well, it's fine. So the last angel. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Well, I got 3 on the table and like 10 of them on the floor. Sure, I'll take them. Why not? I'm feeling bold, and I don't use this deck often, so let's see what wants to come in. I feel like again, what's interesting about getting a lighter message from the same darker deck is like it's not. Sometimes it's more so the person than it is the energy or the entity. Because you can have all of the most amazing, all of the best, all of the finest, but if that intention isn't there or if the drive isn't there to meet it, then what does it matter, right? Intention shines through more than anything. So, oh gosh, oof, 3 cards on the floor. I feel like there was more. I thought there was more, but only 3 cards on the floor. 3 cards on the floor, 3 cards on the table. Let's do this. Okay. I gotta go to the restroom. You'd love a nice storm right now. Oh my gosh. 103 is crazy. I gotta rewatch your Taurus video. I was listening as I was like in the car with my parents. So I didn't really get to like watch, but I heard you talk about thunder and then the rain, and it rained. Oh, everything is in reverse. We'll read them as in pairs. So there is Elamaya and Kahatel. Elamaya is the Queen of Wands. Number 4, the Hidden God. Number 4 came out in the other one. I don't remember who it was. It doesn't matter. And then the Hidden God. Divine Power guards against mental troubles. And then Kahatel, Ace of Pentacles, number 8, the Adored God. Divine Blessings drives away evil spirits, rules agricultural production. Everything is in reverse. So does it matter if anything is in reverse or upright? This is funny because I watched Rob's last live, and I think it was for the water signs when he said ELE. Everybody love everybody. And then we have Elamaya. I just saw the ELE and I was like, everybody love everybody. Everybody love everybody, Maya. Divine power, divine blessings. Guards against mental troubles. Drives away evil spirits. Rules agricultural production. Maybe this is just me. Maybe it's just the theme that's happening on this channel right now. Or the space I'm reading from. I don't know. Because this feels more like the person. Because with these in reverse, like divine power in reverse, it's like there's no divine power. It doesn't guard against mental trouble. There are no divine blessings because it's almost like there are no evil spirits to drive away. Like, I feel like I need a name that is no one's name, so I don't say you or us or we. But it's just like there is no evil spirit to drive away because the unnamed person is the evil spirit. It's just like you're an evil person. There's no, I mean, if we exercise the spirit, then the soul that drives your body would just cease to exist and you drop. Like, I don't like this. Think before you pull. So with that same energy, let's like rework this in a way because these are angels. Okay. Um I think it would be helpful for us to like when we're doing the shadow work and when we're doing things like that, it seems like in it's interesting because the hermit is a thing and it is introspective and stuff like that, but it feels like there's a certain, and it makes me think again of the anchor with the nine of swords where the anchor isn't attached to anything, so it doesn't ground anything. And it's that was the north node. Okay, that's I forgot all about that. It feels like in our pursuit to reach higher, reach further, ascend or whatever, we can become very detached from or try to detach from the human that we are. And so with this, it's almost like it's not necessarily being evil, but it's just like realizing that we're all capable of doing not good things. We're all capable of bad. We're all capable of evil. Sometimes we are bad and evil in the name of love, so we think that we're justified, as was evidenced by the right side earlier. Like the love is real, the relationship is real. The threat seems very real, or the threat is real, but once an action is taken, like there's a consequence. Consequence isn't bad. Consequence is just the effect to the cause. There is an effect to the cause, and even if the cause is the effect from something else, when we're the person making the decision, when we're the person taking the action, regardless if we're that person or not, every effect is the cause for another effect. That's the domino, that's the interconnectedness of everything. And so it's almost like if that's how the system is set up, if that is what it is, where do we think justice, judgment, and karma comes into the situation? Do we think justice is on our side and judgment is on our side because now when we do the not great thing, we're doing it because somebody else did it first, or we're doing it because we have a good reason? And honestly, ever since I watched a movie on Amazon Prime a year ago, I mean, I wasn't working. Yeah, it was probably a year ago, maybe 2 years actually. It's just this energy of like the things that we allow to happen or the things that we dismiss, like the same level of dismissiveness that we hold when it's somebody else is the same level of dismissiveness that we are entitled to when it happens to us. It's not like we get to turn a blind eye and keep a cold heart for certain things and travesties and tragedies in the world just because it happens to people that we don't know, or it happens to people that don't look like us, or happens to people that believe something different. And it's like, oh, well, they deserve it because they're heathens or whatever. But then when it happens to you, all of a sudden there's an outrage. And it's like, well, if we're talking about justice, judgment, and karma, if you turn a blind eye, have a cold heart, and are dismissive when it's someone else, you are welcoming that same cold, blind, dismissive energy when it's you. But when it's us, we feel a certain level of outrage. We feel like something has to be done. And it's like, but does that like does that balance? Are you that important that When it's you, it's a problem, but when it's everyone else, it's fine. And for the self-centric way that we live a lot of life, and the survival of the fittest and the competitive rather than the cooperative, it's probably like, yeah, well, that's just how the cookie crumbles. And I was talking to my new coworker, the Virgo, and she was like, people say survival of the fittest as if it's a thing, and it is a thing, but as humans, we're a social species. And even if we come up with imaginary barriers and boundaries, and even if we think that we're not related to one another, even if we think that the other doesn't matter, we're a social species. And once something social starts to self cannibalize, the whole thing falls apart. There's no level of structure that can be held in a self cannibalistic whatever, especially when it's social. So we degrade our own strengths by separating ourselves from others. And the separation isn't diversity. Separation isn't our differences. The separation is in our inability to be able to overcome those and to be able to see someone as they are without needing to make them anything different or needing them to relate to us to hold some kind of weight or value. Because again, like, how highly do you think of yourself that the whole world must be you in order to deserve decency? But again, it's reflected in everything that we dismiss when it comes to other people. And it only matters when it happens to us. Now, not everyone is like that. I know that. And our ability to be compassionate and to empathize is increasing and increasing and increasing. And it's probably in no small part due to everything that's happening in the sort of like political, social, socioeconomic, anything attached to social atmospheres as the conversations are sort of happening. And when conversations happen, of course, it's going to be like we're going to find out maybe we had some stuff wrong. But you don't necessarily have to take it personally. It's what the world was. And a lot of the progress that we have, it's fairly recent. There are many people alive to this day who grew up and were conditioned in a time where things were very different. And as we grow older and as more and more things change, and as the progress that we hope to see that we manifest becomes a reality, like, are we going to be able to match the shift and change to meet that reality? Or are we going to be the same? It's like, this is what you wanted. Like, if you're manifesting $1 million, it's like, okay, you have your $1 million. You're a millionaire now. So when you weren't a millionaire, like everything, like there are values, there are ethics, there are morals that you can continue to keep. But like the scarcity, and it's not like, even if you don't necessarily have a scarcity mindset, if the abundance is much more now than it was then, there's an adjustment. The value of things has changed because there's more supply than you have, right? And I don't know. It's a whole thing about evolution. As we evolve, should we not change? And to have better, do we not have to be better? It's like we want world peace and we want all of this stuff, but we don't want to be held accountable for the ways that we have to contribute to make the world peaceful. And it's like, yeah, some of it is going to be challenging, some of it is going to be hard, some of it is going to be difficult. But when we're coming from the place that we're coming from, going to where we want to go, those conversations have to happen. Accountability has to be a thing. And at the end of the day, with all of these angels in reverse, with everything that came out, it's like, what are you willing to do? Besides just wish and hope and pray and manifest. Because you can get it and then lose it just as quick. And Aquarius is a fixed sign. with this age of Aquarius, this age of Aquarius, that it's fixed. Because it's fixed, it's like it's all about what is sustainable. It's not like let's have this year or 2 years of like everything is good, everything is great, but because some people feel threatened now that they're not at the top or now that there's no one below them, like we gotta do away with that. Well, if I'm not 60,000 times richer than other people, then that's not a good thing, because who am I if I'm not richer? Who am I if I'm not more intelligent? Who am I if I'm not smarter? And it's like, is that what your identity is based on? So, in order to appease your ego and give you some sense of self, we have to continue to experience the polarization of disparity that we have today, because you can't dig a little bit deeper and find a you that's more than your reputation. Because again, you can be given a good reputation, but like, is that it? With the Nine of Cups and that goblin and the death that came, is like, is this really all that you want? I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna breathe. We're gonna breathe. We're gonna breathe. I mean, they used to have those little robot dogs growing up. Well, when I was growing up, they were like little robot dogs. And honestly, I wouldn't mind a cyber cat, especially in my life right now, especially if it felt like a real cat, because like if I get to travel, it's like all of the benefit of having a cat without all of the considerations, if that makes any sense. Because like, what if you have a life that doesn't permit you, like what if you are the type of person that has to travel for a month or 2 months at a time, and you don't necessarily have a reliable cat sitter? Well, your cat is a robot, it's going to be fine. You don't have to feel the weight of being a terrible person. Like Chino, every time I go for a walk and I leave him at home, I feel bad, but I'm like, I don't feel like picking up poop today 3 times in the cemetery, or like I want to walk for more than like 15 minutes because it's really hot, and his ability to regulate his internal body temperature is that of a dog. And he doesn't drink water. So I'm like, drink the water. You're hot. He just doesn't. I don't know. I can see the appeal. But that's also because I would like a pet. Right now, a cat especially. Um, and like I have a friend who travels a lot for his job, and I would appreciate that experience for a limited time. Um, but like with different hotels that he stays in, it's like whether or not they allow pets, and him having to travel with his cat, and his cat is older. Yeah, so I'm just a robot apologist. Don't mind me. I love technology. So, but also like real cat should still be a thing. But for the person who needs it. Anyway. So that's this. Um, and it's because I feel like it's interesting because these are divine. They're divine gifts. It's divine blessings. What was the other one? Divine blessings and divine power. Divine power. When it's divine, it's less you centric. It's less us centric. When it's something divine, it feels like it's more universal. And so, although, favoritism isn't fair is a thing, it just feels like the bar is set a lot higher when it's divine. So the next pair, we have Gabriel, the moon, God is my strength, and the King of Pentacles, Lehahiah, number 34, the adored God. Gabriel, divine revelation, reveals messages, has the power to destroy. And Lehahiah, obedience, causes harmony and peace, calms anger in anyone. Again, both of these are in reverse. And with both of these being in reverse, it makes me think of Neptune, believe it or not. What was that? Did I just knock a card off? It makes me think of Neptune with that moon because there are ways that we. Hello? I thought I heard it. I thought I heard a card fall. Maybe not. It's like because there are things that it was 2 years ago again. Um, it's like if we pull down the veil in order to stay comfortably. Okay, let me. I'm trying to be nice, so let me try to phrase this in a way. Um, when we retreat behind a veil because of harsh truths that we can't face, it's almost like that veil isn't as selective as we would like it to be. It's not like we can choose to be unaware here and choose to be unaware there and choose to be like we're not horses that you can put blinders on. For some things, if we want a revelation, we have to be like the full truth is revealed. And we've seen on the other side what can happen when we continuously only get the side of the story that we want to see. It's no different than reading a history book written and told by the victors. And would the victor call themselves and their actions atrocities? A mature one would. One that's been able to understand that the impact of what it's done would be able to call it such. But an immature one will always be the hero. And that hero mentality, hero mindset makes for a lot of people who will do a lot of not great things and will feel no qualms about it. That's why sometimes with age comes the opportunity for maturity. When you've made more mistakes and you've lived long enough to be able to face it as a mistake. And it's not even living, it's just more of a maturity thing. It's like, okay, like there are things that I've done that I'm not proud of. But just because I've done things that I'm not proud of doesn't mean I can't be proud of who I am now. Or doesn't mean that I can't use those as opportunities to understand the weight of my actions and the weight of my choices and the weight of my decisions. And with all of that in mind, I can hopefully make better choices and decisions. With all of that in mind, I can know when to choose my battles, or I can better be able to show up to a degree that's appropriate for the situation rather than being either all in or all out all the time. There is room for in between. There is room for compromise. There is room for others at the table, and it's okay if we make the table round because I don't need to be above anyone else. And I also don't need for anyone else to be above me. Type of energy. So you're giving all your appliances rights for holiday. It's fine, Kirsty. I'm just there is no right, there is no wrong. Um and I think also too that's what came to me in the store. More so than anything, it's like there's also the world that we live in. There's also the environment. So while even when it comes to technology and stuff like that, while I more often than not choose to hold on to the benefits and the pluses and what we can do with it rather than what it would be more difficult to do without. I also understand that I live in a world where not everyone is going to use technology in the ways that I would hope they would, right? Like how nuclear energy, like how we could have diverted or diverted, is that the word? Yeah, how we could have diverted resources to using nuclear power or nuclear energy in a way that is like safe for power, and it takes us into that future of hover cars and all that other stuff. Instead, at the time, we chose weapons. And because we chose weapons, the taste is going to be in our mouth for a hot minute. But because we chose weapons, there's also a level of caution that we can bring to it, too. You know, not everybody in the world has great intentions, and not all those in power, not all those who are capable have good intentions. So there is no wrong, there is no right. I'm just a hopeful Pisces. I'm just a hopeful person. Well, I try to be. Some spaces it's easier to be hopeful in than others. I guess hopeful isn't necessarily the word, because I feel like in some ways we're beyond hope. Um, and not beyond hope as in like we're hopeless, but we're beyond hope in terms of like it's time for action. It's time for things to start being done, because hope, it's like the grace period is running dry. You know what I mean? So anyway, so that's this in the middle. And again, it's like divine this, divine that. I mean, it's the angel tarot, so it's no surprise. But with the again with divine revelation, and it's the moon with divine revelation, because it's divine, it feels like it reveals more. Again, including the parts of it that we don't necessarily want to see, because it might be difficult to face. But we got to see it. And it feels like when things were happening in the world, because of the level of challenge of some of those conversations, because of whoever not being at fault for whatever, because everything happening in the world, although it's affecting people, it's all an illusion. 99.9% of those people don't have souls anyway. They're not real people. They're AI, they're robots, they're background characters. They don't matter. Because they don't matter, the things that happen to them don't matter. You're the only person that matters in this world. And to get the good, just treat it all as the distraction that it is. Don't even be bothered. Don't even be phased. And I don't know, maybe it's just the divine or the all or the creator that I believe in. But again, it's just like, in what world, even if they're not real people, even if they don't have souls or whatever, I don't know. I don't subscribe to it personally. In what world would dismissing the pain and the hurt, in what world do you believe in a divine that will turn a blind eye to the like, I can't reconcile that within me, like believing in a creator, believing in a compassionate creator that cares at least about you, but will at the same time not for, like, I don't get it. But again, that goes back to everything. It's so self-centric. Even when we get super spiritual, even when we get super whatever, it's still like you're the only person that matters. There's you, and then there are 7+ billion copies of you, all reflecting something different. And it's like, man, I get, just let me, in the vein of this, just because it's not my personal belief doesn't mean that it's wrong. And I don't necessarily think it's wrong. I just don't. It's like, again, I don't understand it, because these are people who like call themselves empaths and stuff like that. I guess empath is just the ability to feel the feelings of others. Being an empath doesn't mean that you care. So let me take in that clarification. An empath is just simply the one who feels the emotions of others. It doesn't mean that they care. It doesn't mean that they're compassionate. It doesn't mean that they're kind. It doesn't mean that they're going to do anything. It just means that they can take on the feelings of other people, and they might not have an ability to control it. So that's what an empath is. But it's just like, I don't get, because again, it's like we will allow things to happen to other people. We will turn a blind eye not even put our hearts on the warmer and not care. But at the same time, in the same breath, in the same vein, it's like I don't get it. I don't understand how A and B like connect, especially when we're using the rhetoric of, and Fornius that teaches rhetoric and languages, when we're using the rhetoric of this, oh, there's this compassionate divine that does whatever. And it's like, yeah, but like, I don't know, there's just like this huge gap from where I sit in that I can't reconcile, but it's not my belief. So that's why I can't reconcile it, I guess. I don't know. But the point was, when we choose to see all of that as unreal, when we choose to see all of that as a distraction, when we choose to see it all as an illusion, when we veil our eyes in that way, that veil that we choose drops in more spaces probably than we would want. And so we cut ourselves off from the divine. We cut ourselves off from our guides or whatever when we choose to take the role of this extremely elevated self-importance because we're on the path of ascension and other people aren't, or whatever. I don't know. When we choose to disconnect ourselves from others, when we choose to disconnect ourselves from everybody, especially those who are experiencing things that are not great, it's like the limit of that connection isn't anything else but what you chose or what we chose. When you choose to veil, you get veiled. Like, when you choose to not see, you become blind. When you choose to not hear, you become deaf. When you choose to not feel, you lose connection. Like, where's the enigma or the mystery behind that? And choices come with consequences. There are effects to the causes that we put out into the universe. And again, it's like I hear people like talk about manifesting this like golden future paradise, but in the present, whenever something happens, they treat it with dismissal. And it's like, how do we get to this place when it's like if you're trying to heal somebody, right? It's like, well, how are you trying to heal this person when every time they tell you that they're hurting, you shut them outside? How are you trying to help this person when every time they tell you that they need you, you just disappear? And what world does the action that you take bring about the result that you want? And I feel like in a lot of ways, that's humanity. In a lot of ways, that's us. And in a lot of ways, that's how our interaction with the divine goes, with the creator. We just sit in a space and we grab some crystals and we meditate and we don't do anything and we get everything that we want. And it's like the disconnect that you're seeing in the physical is the same. Like, that disconnect runs in the emotional and it runs in the mental as well. And it's just like, we don't get to choose. When we make certain choices and decisions to limit or block connection, when we choose to dismiss and not see, we don't get to choose what's revealed to us, because the divine revelation reveals all things. And we just got to be mature enough to take it on if we really want what we say we want. Neptune isn't anything, the moon isn't anything that we don't make them out to be. You know? I don't know. So next, the last two is Dhammavaya, the world, number 65, God, the source of wisdom, and the Wheel of Fortune again, Metatron, the recording angel, both in reverse like everything else. Metatron is advancement in progress, teaches, guides, and records events in the book of life. Dhammavaya is fountain of wisdom, gives success in all ventures. So with these in reverse, it's easiest to say there is no advancement, there is no progress, and we choose not to drink from the fountain of wisdom. We prefer knowledge over wisdom. It's a very sorcerous sort of energy. And sorceress in a way that it uses, it manipulates, it bends, it twists to get what it wants. And when that's the case, yeah, it's easy to dismiss the things that you don't want to see. And it's easy to not listen to a whole bunch of stuff because none of those things get. I need to stop saying you because I. See, but that's the thing. It's like when somebody is wrong, you can't even say you're wrong because they get so upset about being wrong that they don't even want to make things right. And it's like, okay, so stay wrong. Like, you want me to. I don't. It's. Like, I get it. But at the same, like, I understand that it is a thing, but I don't get it, if that makes sense. Because, like, I'm the type of person, like I said before, understanding is something that I hold very dear to me. Like, I want to understand. And when I want to make progress in a certain area, I want to know when I'm wrong. And it's not because I love the feeling of being wrong. It's because I want to make progress. And if I'm doing everything wrong and nobody tells me I'm doing it all wrong, then how am I going to make progress? How am I ever going to do anything right? I'm not going to be so in my ego. I'm not going to be so afraid of being perceived as wrong, or I'm not going to be so hurt to be made a fool of that I'm going to keep myself in a place I don't want to be in just for the sake of preserving my ego. What? No. Like, tell me I'm wrong so I can do it right. But again, it's that, like, we want everything for nothing. So we get nothing. And we experience the same cycles over and over and over, and we can make ourselves feel better about it by calling a circle a spiral. And it's like, yeah, but is this really, like, at some point things should move forward. At some point things should evolve. At some point something should change. But sometimes it's like, where's the action? That was the Saturn and the Mars in this occult tarot. Saturn and Mars are the two malefics in astrology. Mars being the planet of action, Saturn being the planet of reason, basically. So when Mars and Saturn work together, it's things that get us to go beyond, things that get us to move forward. But that's called Venus and Jupiter, the two benefics. Jupiter, who in traditional astrology will just give you stuff for no reason. And Venus being all the finer things in life, because who doesn't want that? And when we overly prioritize those things with none of the action, no harvest happens. Like, Mars and Saturn are in the sky for a reason. And they can also help us get where we want to go, just like everything else. But again, it's like we want everything without doing anything. And it's like, but in what world does that get us where we're going? And I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I feel like I might not even keep this. I might, like, trim the last however many minutes of this video and leave it after that. I might just stop it when the things fall, because it's like, I don't want to, like, be like this, but at the same time, it's like, if nothing is said, if no one is held to anything, does anything matter? And just in the same way that we want to hold political people, like, well, when you campaigned, you said this and you said you do that and blah, 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 blah. But, like, when you got the office, you're not holding up on any of it. Okay, but, like, is that not you? In your everyday life, is that not you to the divine? When you're like, if you get me through this, I promise I'll stop doing this, and I promise I'll stop doing that, and I promise I'll make an effort to do the other thing. And it's like, okay, I'll get you through it, and then what? You got through it and you're going right back to what you were doing before. But you think other people should be held to a higher standard. For all the people that's like, oh, people are so judgmental when it comes to Christians, or people are so judgmental when it comes to people of that faith. People judge me so harshly because this is my faith, but you turn that very faith around and you judge other people just as harshly, if not more critically. But you think because since you have humanity, you should be given a grace that you don't grant to other people. Got it. So in the divine scale, where does that make sense? This very grace that you want, you don't even extend. This level of compassion that you desire, you don't even give. But you think you should get it. Where is the connect? That's why there is no connection. And it's nobody's fault. It's just how we are conditioned to be in the world as something that exists in a world of apparent finiteness. I don't know. It's just, it's fine. Well, that's what the angels have to say. The angel said, it's not us, it's you. And as soon as you're ready to get on board, we are ready to go. Like we've been ready to go. But, we can't do everything because it's your life and your planet and you got to do something. Bottom of the deck is AIL. Number 67, 67 is a 13. Yeah, another 13. It's the 8 of Cups. God, the pleasure of man's children. Its transformation gives consolation in adversity. Transformation gives consolation in adversity. And then temperance is right behind it. Haukaya, 35, the God of joy, reconciliation, and regains the favor of those one has offended. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. If you're not going to take it, you're not going to take it. Straight from the horse's mouth. If you believe you're always right and you're never wrong or whatever, continue. And the world will continue to be what it is. I don't know. It's just, it really sometimes blows my mind that some people can have so little compassion for others, but expect so much when it comes to them. And then everybody and their mama is sharing on Facebook or social media like, oh, everybody doesn't have your heart. Oh, you're this super kind, compassionate, caring person, but nobody else does that. Only you. And it's like if there were enough people who actually were the person that they think they are, I feel like the world would be a very different place. And today I just feel a little just like burnt out on tragedy. If I'm being like super honest, today especially, I just feel burnt out on tragedy. Because it's like, oh, this terrible thing happened. Oh, that terrible thing happened. And it's like, yeah, but terrible things are constantly happening. And we're not actually doing anything to make it more difficult for terrible things to happen. In fact, we're just making it easier. And we continue to make it easier. And there's no real holding anybody to anything because of where our priorities lie. And so do we expect any different? Like all of a sudden we're going to wake up and people are going to not do, I don't know. I just don't get it. And it's like, so we're just going to continue to not do anything and expect for things to change. Okay. But that's the world we live in. That's how people are. And again, it's no one's fault. But at some point, it's like, do we not want better? And do we not want better enough to actually start doing something? I guess is the question. And another question is like, what is it going to take for us to finally start doing the things to make what we want a reality? Or is Saturn and Pluto, or not Pluto, well, yeah, Pluto, is Saturn and Pluto, and is every planet besides Venus and Jupiter, are they just going to keep being the bad guys that keep us from experiencing what we want to experience, when Mars is literally the action that it takes, Saturn is literally the discipline, Pluto is literally the power of transformation. But oh no, they're malefics, they're bad. Like if you actually take that action, if you actually have some kind of conviction, and like if things actually change, and like, but again, that's the point. It's not necessarily, or it wasn't necessarily about empowering us to do anything besides dream of better and think that maybe someday it'll just happen while nothing changes. I don't know. So, and it's funny because like for a long time I was really like, you know what, I think that like we as a humanity, I think we're gonna be different, I think we're gonna be better. It was like November 2019, I thought I had more faith in humanity. And then I mean, granted, things have been rough and a lot has happened in the world, but I don't, it's almost like it's the mental gymnastics, it's the spiritual gymnastics where it's like, but where's like the actual thing that makes the difference? When are we actually going to be the people that care enough to not call everything a distraction and an illusion? I don't know. And maybe if there is truth, maybe if those people aren't real people and things aren't really happening, maybe I'm just upset for no reason. I don't know. It's just like, but again, in my mind, it's like, but that is that not like that's literally, it's historic, I guess. That's like, oh yeah, like I'm such a good person and I care so much for everybody and blah blah blah. But like whenever the world is like, hey, like something's happening, it's like, oh yeah, well that's not real. And I can keep being a person that is so compassionate and caring because none of that is real. None of that matters. It's all an illusion. And it's like, girl, well, in the game and the illusion, can you at least pretend like a person that cares about people? I don't know. Anyway, let me end this. I'm not gonna work this around to anything besides what it's already been. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. And if I'm wrong, don't listen to me. You know what I mean? If it don't resonate, don't take it. Continue to keep doing whatever you're doing because you're gonna do it anyway. So, but I think the medicine, the change comes when you really realize it. Because when we know the behaviors that keep us experiencing the same, we know what to change. We know what to do differently. We just have to be whatever. We have to be blank enough to do it at some point, to make changes, to do things differently, to put weight behind our words and authority in our voices when we speak. Because we can claim sovereignty all day long. But if there's no authority, if there's no weight, if there's no power, the words are empty. An empty word did a lot for a significant amount of time. Empty words were praised. And empty words got you pretty far. When it was, I guess, that age of Pisces, when it wasn't about substance, when everything was flighty and like in between and questionable and like nebulous, and because it was all so confusing, you could almost get away with anything. But not only is Aquarius fixed, it's fixed air. So that is a steady stream of air coming to dispel all of the fogs, all of the illusions. But when the illusion is dispelled, we call that the illusion because we were taught that the illusion was the truth. And so if anything comes in that disagrees with the truth, then it's the illusion. I don't know. Like I said, there's going to be this video, it's already gone. And I'm going to keep it public. It is what it is. I don't care. Honestly, I'm just at a certain point, I've lost the ability to care. Because if I am forced to continue to live an experience where people suffer, tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, and I continue to see people who didn't care until it happened to them. Not everybody, because some people do care. Some people fight very, very, very hard, even when it isn't them. And because I guess the number of people who actually care enough to put forth action, to put in more than just thoughts and prayers and hopes and dreams, isn't more than the people who are willing to mobilize to keep things as they are, then I don't know. It's like, if I got to continue to experience this, then you're going to hear about it. And if you don't want to hear about it, unsubscribe, leave. Because, like I said, I don't have the capacity anymore. I don't. I'm burnout on why is everything like this? Oh, things are getting worse and worse and worse, but nothing changes. And, we can blame other people for things not changing. We can blame someone with a position. We can blame someone with a title, whatever. But it's like, I don't know, where are we? What are we doing? You know what I mean? And doing isn't always something, doing is different for everybody. Everyone is here to do something differently, and it takes all kinds of people to do what they do in whatever way they do it. But again, it feels like there's a conviction. I don't know. I will process everything that I got to process on my own time. I don't need you here to do it with me. But I will hope. I will continue to hope that more and more and more people choose compassion in ways of substance. So I will see y'all in the next one if you choose to be here. I'm kidding. I mean, if you're not here, you're not here. And I'll just, I don't know. I'll be like, oh my gosh. Oh. I mean, maybe this is it. Shoot. Maybe the time for trying to know. Because I do think that there are still ways that I'll figure it out. It's all within me to work out, okay? This is my personal alchemy. As I balance out the elements within me, again, like fire, air had to go a little bit overboard because I was overly water, overly earth, overly making excuses, overly patient, using my Piscean imagination to put myself in so deep into an illusion to make people look like they care, or to make people not out to be what they very clearly obviously were. It's like, oh yeah, but like, there's a reason, or it's like, it's not that bad, or like, I don't know and it's like, okay, yeah, but at the end of the day, sometimes there are behaviors. An action is an action, and once taken, it cannot be undone. And sometimes there is justification in it, sometimes there is not. And we're all human, we all learn. We all mature at our own pace, and sometimes that happens within our lifetime. You know, sometimes it happens within a relatively short amount of time. Sometimes, apparently, it takes several thousand lifetimes, according to some people. And it's just like, man, I really thought that Earth was cool until, recently. And now I'm just like done. It's like, okay, so we're just going to keep doing this, and it's fine. Because somebody's always right and somebody's always wrong. And somehow the people who were right, even when they come into power, wrong keeps being done. But since they're the one doing the wrong, then it makes it right. I don't know. It's fine. Okay, I'm actually going to end this. Thank you, Matthew, for the gift. Because flowers are terrifying, because nothing will save me from being who I am and delivering messages the way I do. We tried. You tried. Thank you. I appreciate it. But again, I think the biggest takeaway is when we can see and recognize and accept our faults, our shadows, our darknesses, our weaknesses, we can work on integrating them with the light, with our strengths, to round us out in ways that give us a position of substance where we're not just holograms being projected from this idealized version of who we are or who we should be on the inside. But when we actually show up in the flesh, I don't know, there's a power in that substance. There's a power in that position. There you are. Thank you for the gifts. I really like this, really did make me laugh when you were like, because flowers are terrifying. I was like, okay. But yeah. And underneath all of that, I don't know if hope is the word, um, but in my own Patrick way of making the world or encouraging the world to be a better place because we're all better people, I am putting my energy towards doing that. So, anyway, I will catch you. I just feel like this should be the last video I ever make, and I should just live out the rest of my days of this incarnation, hoping that things will eventually be better because we will eventually be better. Hoping that we're tired of just hurting all the time. Um, but time will tell, right?